Sorry, dude.
And that's a good joke.
And that was hilarious.
And we begin the show now. Hello, my name is Tom Wise.
I am Melinda McKinsey.
Hey, now that we're unpacking, you're unpacking some shit with Wise and McKinsey.
That's right.
Do I need a cue card for that?
Hey,
now that we're on iTunes, I was listening to the last show, and It was way too visual. I'm talking about planters. I'm talking about flowers behind me. It's like, well, we can't do that as much.
You know what? That's a valid point. You know, you and I, real quickly, Tom and I work in television, so we're used to being visual. We're used to little things that wouldn't matter in normal life matter in television. Every little move you make, even the funniest thing when I first started TV, they told me, don't look from side to side. It looks very suspicious on television, but we can do that on iTunes. So
of course.
Yeah.
So the premise of the show is just you and I chatting, long-term friends. We met in an improv class 15 years ago, something like that. And the chattery was natural amongst us, between us.
See, now my version's different.
Huh.
My version is the fun version where we knew each other through television. We did the improv class together. But when you really first asked me to work with you was when you went to a party at my ex-boyfriend's house. And we were all, my girlfriends and I were sitting on the computer, and she pulled up a photo from the private album where we were doing joke photos, and I was leaning into the oven. My girlfriends and I got drunk one night. We did this thing where I was leaning into the oven, acting like, oh, I'm a housewife baking cookies. And we were making fun of thongs. So I had the thong pulled up super high. And I remember you sitting in the room, and I'm like, block that picture. And then you go, you know, Melinda, I'm thinking about doing a radio show. Do you want to?
You know, it's funny because first of all, we talked about not doing visual things anymore, so everybody can just imagine what that looks like in their own mind. However, but the thought was, of course, it was a very attractive, sexy picture, but it's like, oh, here's another side of Melinda that proves she's fun, you know, and not hung up.
Yeah.
That's really what that signal was to me. Plus, maybe I could tap that and, you know.
And it was a very funny parody picture. You know, when you're with your girlfriends and you're drinking, you do have a tendency to talk more about things maybe you're nervous about. And at the time, I remember this was, I don't know, 10 or so years ago. And thongs were such a thing where girls were wearing them up above so men could see that they had a thong on, right?
Right.
And so we just thought it was hilarious. I don't know. Today saying it maybe not so hilarious, but at the moment I remember it was one of the funniest nights because we just thought doing that whole like, oh, what my thong is showing to us, hilarious.
Oh no, we would like that today. That has never gone out of style. We'd love to see a little pink underwear poking out above your jeans.
Oh, really? Okay.
Absolutely.
Did not know that. Okay.
Well, this just in.
This just in. Melinda's still learning about boys.
Wow.
So
that's crazy. So what's your list?
You know, I always have a lot of things. I'll try to whittle it down. So Tom and I always have lists so we can kind of banter back and forth about what we want to talk about. So a couple of my topics are, the first topic is who sees you. All right.
By the way, I like your version of us getting together better than mine.
It's a fun one, right?
Mine is boring.
But well, because again, this is just like that series called The Affair, where men have different versions than women do. And it doesn't mean either version's exactly right.
So you got the right word and the wrong version.
No, you have the
interpretation of the events. It's crazy. You see somebody watching the same TV commercial these days, and it's like, oh my gosh, that guy should go to hell. Oh my, are you killing me? He's going to take us to heaven. So,
yeah, exactly.
Are we watching the same thing?
Exactly. And I mean, I do like that about how different we are. I think it's very fascinating. You and I always have very different spins, and it's interesting to hear what you have to say. And I like that we can disagree and not hate each other. And I think the world needs more of that, being able to disagree.
I think we have very strong agreement on a lot of the major things, and then so we can disagree on the small stuff.
Yeah, we don't disagree on morals. And for me, that's the boundary.
Right.
You know, I think in the past, as a female, I kind of put up with some of that haziness on moral boundaries because I was trying to, like, you know, work and make money and stuff. But I find as I've gotten older, my lines are firmer in that area. So we'll see how that works in my favor. You know, in the long run.
Yeah. How much movement can you take?
Right. Oh, Melinda's not so adorable anymore, is she? When she says no, that's not cute. Okay, so who sees you? What are you watching? If life were a sitcom, and wearing pants.
Wow. I like them all, of course.
Yes.
Mine are The Last Word, F or A, Metal Detectors, Truth. I want to know. I
All
think I
right.
want to save that one for our guest.
Okay, cool.
Let's
All
do
right.
let's do let's do one of our, what was your first one?
My
Who
first one
sees
was
you?
Who Sees You?
Let's do it.
Okay, I found this interesting because, I'm always looking up, I love the psychology of people. And I was reading an article about um, what it takes to have like friendships in your life. And this one person said it so well because I think we all struggle with like, oh, maybe they're just a social friend. Maybe they're, our circles are tighter and smaller these days. And so this, you know who it was? It was the guy, and this is going to show my age again because I always forget names. I get very excited about something and then I forget the name. Titus, he plays Titus
Oh,
on,
sure. Blonde haired guy.
no, 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 the black guy that plays Titus on
White guy.
the Kimmy Schmidt show.
Oh, that guy. Yes. It's funny because there is a comedian called Titus,
Oh, okay.
and he had a show.
So this guy who I love, he was talking about there are a few people that actually see him. He says, I go out in the world and I have my out in the world persona, but few people really see me. And I thought, I haven't really thought about that for a long time because I'm pretty comfortable in my friendships. And especially these days with social media, I'm deleting people right and left. I don't care. Everybody's crazy. So I was reading this article and I looked up Who Sees You, and I'm curious to know for you, Tom, because of our different levels of friends, who do you feel like in your life really sees you, accepts you, knows your faults, knows your, the stuff you don't show most people, and they're still there for you?
Well, my brother Patrick and I, he moved down here 25 years ago. And so, we've been through each other's marriages and the kids and, band practices.
Yeah,
And, he pretty much knows everything about me. And then my buddy Jay, I've known Jay for 30 years. We could
yeah.
pretty much say anything.
And
He'd probably cover up a murder for me.
that's what I'm saying, though. That's a safe place to be. Oh, I definitely have girlfriends. If I called and said, there's a body, they'd say, quit talking, and they'd show up and help me. And we'd never discuss it again.
Did you see that current meme running on Facebook that if you kill somebody, bury them and put endangered flowers and species of plants on top?
Oh,
Yeah, follow
that,
me for more tips.
that's actually really good. Good dead body tips. Thanks for that, Tom.
Sure.
So with Pat and with Jay, those are two male, one's family member, one's a friend. You feel like they know you, they love you. Any females that you feel like know you that way that,
Well, I could certainly talk to you about anything.
thank God, that was really, I was trying not to be so obvious about it. Like any female friends
There's
you
an
know.
arrow. I saw two arrows coming at you. No, that's a blessing. And then it's also another thing is like even if I had a friend and I've had you know that if they can't, I don't have any dark secrets, but I do have I want to have deep conversations. So if
Yeah.
you can't handle it, or you're not interested in it, or you're just whatever, or you deflect the intimacy, which I really can't say that I've ever experienced,
Yeah.
then then okay, fine. Our friendship will be level 1. We'll never get to level 5. You
Right.
know, you're a guy I see, and we have lunch once in a while. Or I'll see you on a basketball court, and and I have got plenty of those friends. At least had them till we stopped playing basketball 7 months ago.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. It's interesting to see. I was talking to my son. He was having a hard time in high school making friends. I said, you can always have how's the weather friends. Hey, how's the weather? And those guys are just whatever. But you have to reveal a little bit about yourself, and then when that person reveals a bit about themselves, then you're making yourself vulnerable. Now you're starting the path of friendship to where you get to that point where you could just say anything, and the guy's gonna be, I got your back on that one, and I've done worse, or I've got my thoughts are crazy, or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's so helpful. And I love what you say about, you don't have any dark secrets, because I do feel like if you carry secrets, it's going to affect you on levels maybe you can't even comprehend, because those can be used against you. Those make you feel bad about yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a perfect citizen, but I've done, and there's things I would be not proud of, but
Right.
nothing that would be bad. I mean, like,
Right.
oh, you forgot to pay your full share taxes in 1902 or 1955 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's got a little bit of that stuff going on, or you forgot to return an item when you just stayed in your cart and you didn't go back and pay for it. It's like, ugh, I'm not proud of those moments, but
Right.
it's a real person, and maybe I've made up for it in some other way, or something like that, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's a valid point because I feel like we've all been too hard on ourselves, and I don't know where it started, where we thought we had to live perfect lives. And as you notice, the trend started turning when celebrities started being honest about things that were happening in their lives, and people ate that up because we all are fallible, we all make mistakes, right?
That's very interesting. I mean, do you want to really know the ins and outs of John Wayne or George Clooney? Because George is now these days, you're going to find more personal things about him. Now people are finding out things about John Wayne and they're rewriting history. Oh, he's a race, whatever. He was
Yeah,
a drunk, no doubt about it. He had certain feelings about certain cultures. There's no doubt about that. But I
yeah,
mean, 1968, there was like everybody thought that way. You
yeah,
know? I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't forgive you, but you're a man of your times. I mean, uh, Dr. Seuss had questionable cartoons that he made in 1945. It's like,
true,
okay, but everybody loved him in 1965, but
right.
people grow and they change and they have attitudes and they're a person of the time. So, I mean, I don't think you can get abused for that. We're pulling on statues of Christopher Columbus. He was not a perfect person, but he was an explorer. He represents something else. Maybe I'm not defending him. Well,
Yeah,
he's killing
good.
Indians or whatever, but he represents getting out of your own shell and seeing what's on the other side. I mean, that's what you should see, and that's how I feel about Christopher Columbus. I'm not gonna you go nuts trying to defend someone's personality or their foibles while you're enjoying you know their achievements. I mean, Pete Rose bet on baseball. Did that make him a shitty baseball player? No, he's hardworking, worked hard at baseball. He had that fault. I mean, Ty Cobb used to slide in with his spikes up and try to hurt the other guy.
Right.
Does that make you a bad person? And he cheated on his wife. And this guy, Babe Ruth, wasn't faithful either. I'm like, you just go crazy just picking out. No one's perfect. Probably the Pope has got crap that he doesn't want to talk about.
Yeah, no, I think it's a valid point. No one's perfect. And I think the thing about Christopher Columbus is just that he's been portrayed forever as someone who discovered America when really that's not totally accurate. So
No,
I can
correct.
see, how people are upset about that.
Yeah, but Native Indians have a gripe with Columbus. I mean, they're
Absolutely.
writing their version of history. This guy ruined everything. I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
absolutely.
we are where we are. I mean, I can't go back 600 years and try to correct things.
Yeah, I think the
We
secret is to
gave them
be
casinos, for God's sakes.
well, I'm not even going to get into that. Because here's the thing, if my whole culture was destroyed by a myth, I would have some real hard feelings about it too. But as far as like friendships and stuff go, you're right, we're not perfect, we all make mistakes, and having people actually see you and love you and not hold it against you, right, not use it against you. I've had friends in my
Right.
life.
Oh my gosh. It's some people you tell them a secret and you could put up a clock before that circles back and be used against you. Well, I didn't, walk out of Payless without buying shoes either. What? I just told you that 9 minutes ago that when I was 12, I, wore a pair of shoes and wore them out of the store. Now not 8 minutes later, you're using it against me.
Yeah, yeah, and I've definitely had what I thought were friends use stuff against me, and I had the discussion and I severed the relationship if it was healthier for me.
Of
So
course.
I like severing relationships. What can I say?
You should put your profile picture should be a hatchet. Be a
I saw a meme the
pair of
other day
scissors.
that made me so happy, and it's really because of my upbringing from family from the Midwest. Who it's all about you that blood is thicker than water kind of a thing, where it doesn't matter how bad your family members are, they're your blood. And I don't believe that to be valid, at any case. And so this funny meme said, "Hey, you can't just snip people out of their life if they're your family." And then below it said, "Snippity snip, motherfuckers." Like,
No, because you could have somebody who's just drain you dry emotionally and maybe even financially. Fortunately I don't have any family members like that, but I've seen it.
yeah,
This guy's always this guy's always needed help. This guy always has to be the center of attention as his life's going to shit because he's not working or whatever he's not doing.
yes, Exactly. Yeah. No, I think the whole idea of someone really seeing you, and I think that's an important thing we need to share with our family is you don't have to have having a large group of friends doesn't necessarily make your life full. It's having those tried and true people that are going to be there. There's nothing wrong with going out socially with people that you know at a certain level and just have fun with them. It doesn't have to be deep every single
Of
time,
course.
with your
Yeah. I
relationships.
mean, if you start going in too deep, you're going to start finding stuff you guys don't really agree on, and then you're going to be focused on that.
Yeah, no,
And
absolutely.
I don't
But
want to talk religion in politics. It's draining, but
it is,
it's nice to know where someone's core lies, at least. But then you can also agree on a lot of other things. I mean, I've got got a buddy I play basketball with. We disagree vehemently on those subjects and topics, but I appreciate his family, his relationship, his sense of humor. We have a great time when we go out to lunch, but we tend not to talk about those topics.
yeah. Yeah, as long as you can have that boundary of understanding, because it's all about respect, isn't it?
Right.
About respecting each other. And so I want to wrap this by saying, you call me at 3 o'clock and say, "Body, I won't ask any questions. I'll be there."
Shovel and a carpet.
I'll be there.
Isn't there some sort of isn't there some sort of acid you bring in, you have a bucket of this stuff you put on the
Well,
lye, isn't it lye or something?
I'm gonna pretend like I don't know what you're talking about. I know nothing about poisonous plants and acid.
All right, my turn.
Yes, go.
I was picking up I was at my warehouse in Tarpon Springs,
Okay.
and there was an empty field where maybe nothing's been constructed or something was taken down a long time ago, but there was grass and but it was in like in the middle of the city. And Tarpon Springs is kind of evolving where
Yeah.
there it used to be pretty marginal stuff, but now businesses are moving in, and all the hippies are moving in, and it's starting to turn,
Yeah.
right? And as a matter of fact, it wasn't too far away from Christie's spot,
Oh, nice. Yeah,
our
she.
acupuncturist friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about 2 blocks away. Anyway, I see three guys in that field, and they're with metal detectors. And this reminds me of people, and I saw people at the beach with metal detectors. What do you? I mean, what are the odds you're really going to find something? What's the time?
I've always wondered about people with metal detectors. Is it more of it's feeling, like you said, filling your time so it gives you a little something to do
Yeah,
and maybe, I mean, how far down do those metal detectors go? Like,
well, it depends how much you're willing to pay, but I don't think that can't be a foot, or probably 6 inches. I'm guessing.
because how much buried treasure is there?
I don't know. I mean, what could you? I mean, are you going to find gold coins,
I
brass rings?
I don't know anybody with a metal detector. Do you know anybody personally?
No, but I saw those three guys in there, and they looked like amateurs. It wasn't like there was a truck and we'll find what you've
Right.
lost.com. It
Right.
was three guys. Like, this is kind of an odd scenario that they're all working the same. Clearly, they're looking for something.
Yeah.
Maybe they knew something had been lost there.
That's fascinating. I do have a friend, my friend Dwayne, that lives down in Florida. Um, he's always invested in like buried treasure and like going out to sea, like on boats, and they locate areas so they know that there's something there, which is a very different level than the metal detectors. But I always
Yeah.
thought that was fascinating because apparently, if it's out to sea, if you find it, then it's mostly yours.
That's an interesting thing. I met Mel, what's his name, from the Atosha coins. He was on Home Shopping. He found those Atosha coins back in the 80s.
Okay.
And I met him. We did a show together. He had this huge
Hi, our
Melissa,
guest
welcome to the
comes on.
show.
For the people that are on iTunes, our beautiful guest comes on when Tom is saying he has this huge, so
He's
that's
got
a little bit of an awkward moment, but it has nothing to do with you, and I apologize on Tom's behalf.
thank you. Thank you. Linda,
I hear
meet
that happens often.
Melissa. Huh?
I hear that she has to apologize for you very often.
Very much. Every time we're out. Don't mind him. His his glance always lingers too long.
That's so what did this guy had? He had a big what?
Melissa, we're talking about treasure hunting, and I was talking about Mel. His last name escapes me, but he found the Etosha down in Key West, and it was millions and millions and millions of dollars of gold. And one
Yeah.
of the things that they found was this 2-foot long braided gold chain. It was crazy, and he wore it. I was hosting at Home Shopping at the time. He wore it on the show, and we were selling the
Oh
coins.
my gosh.
But I remember that there was a very interesting split with the government, and he had many times brought in investors from a bar. He was sitting in a bar, and they'd write down the deal on a napkin. So it was nuts. He was crazy. I think he was drunk during the show too. Mel Fisher.
But you know what? Mel's living his best life. He's drinking, finding gold. Good for him.
Oh, he was, because it was 12 years before he found anything, and people were constantly telling me he's nuts. And now he hit it big. I don't think he's probably still alive. He was living a rough life, but he was fun at the end, I'm sure.
I mean, he has that gold chain around his neck. I can't imagine he was standing up straight very long.
It was crazy. He was standing up. He was almost as tall as I was, and the thing would go down to his knees. So, I mean, this huge chain. Look like
And it's
a king's
gold.
chain or something.
And
It's
it's
crazy.
gold. Yes, and it's gold. So let's introduce Melisa.
Yeah, Melissa met her during the show, and I said you should come on as a guest. Chuck came on as a guest about a month ago. It's been too long before we've had guests.
Yeah. So Melissa, tell us about yourself.
I am new to the South Venice area.
Okay.
Moved up here from Miami. I've been in Florida for about a year and a half now. Traveled all over the country, following a stupid man. And
Oh, here we go. This is why I brought her in, Melinda. Here you go.
And the reason I'm in Venice now is because I'm getting away from that stupid man. So yeah.
You're 40 years younger than anybody in Venice.
I know that. I know that. And I feel like, we talked about this. If I can find a sugar daddy anywhere, it's going to be in Venice, right?
Absolutely.
And they're close to the end, too.
You know what? Venice has those great beaches where you can find all the shark's teeth, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm not too far from Siesta Key Beach either. So that doesn't suck.
No, that's
Nice.
delightful.
Yeah.
Well, I feel very connected to you. You know, I live in Brooklyn, New York, and really a part of the reason I moved to Brooklyn was I was being stalked by my ex-husband in Florida. I was living in Florida, and I thought, you know what? I need a fresh start. Let's see if he follows me here. And I don't think he did. I haven't seen him. So
He may have. I mean, I grew up in Pennsylvania, so he might be hanging out over there and just, got lost in the coal region somewhere.
yeah, that happens too. So we're so glad to have you on the show. Now, Tom said he wanted to ask you one of our topic questions. So we can
Okay.
Okay, now we don't have to do this. We can talk about anything you want, but the one thing I came up with was truth. I want to know. Would you like to know one of three things? Who really shot Kennedy? Are there really such things as aliens? It would be, you just would know for sure, one or the other. It's an absolute truth. Or who your ex cheated with.
Well, I know who my ex is cheating with. So
Every time.
Oh yeah. I called them. I called them and let them know, hey, this is his wife.
Wow.
Just so you know. Yeah.
Tom got on to me because I told one of my ex's moms what he did. And he's like,
I know, I saw that episode and I was cheering you on. I was like, go girl. I 100% agree with that. But yeah, that's the most recent was I called her up and I said, hey, and she goes, who is this? And I explained I was his wife and, the break that he needed from her was because, he was spending the weekend with me and she didn't, I feel like he's maybe, not sleeping alone, that's for sure, but not with either one of us. So I guess really I would like to know who shot Kennedy. That would be the truth. That's the truth I'd want to know.
See?
Yes.
that's a really good one because I don't think anybody really knows. I think if we did know it, we'd be really disturbed by it, which is why we don't know it. I think.
Yeah.
I think that would be an amazing secret is what the Kennedy thing is, because when you think about it, it seems to be some sort of conspiracy where there's definitely more than one person involved.
Yeah.
And usually, if there's three people that know a secret, someone's going to spill at some point. I'm going to write a tell-all book. I'm going to be on CNN. You can make
Your deathbed.
Yeah. That's perfection. Yeah.
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 I mean, I was talking to my 25-year-old kid that does some work around me, and he's convinced that Hillary actually has killed somebody, Hillary Clinton. I'm going.
You know what?
I said, if she really did kill somebody, first of all, she should go to jail. But if she did kill somebody, somebody would say something. Somebody could make $1 million. You can't keep that. You can't keep that secret. So the Kennedy thing is really I lean towards the mob.
Is that what I was going to say?
What
What do you guys think? What do you guys think is this real story? I'm curious.
I mean, the Kennedys are just, but there's so much bad that hangs over them. I'm thinking hellhounds, like somebody sold their soul to the devil and just the hellhounds are coming. Tom Brady's next, by the way.
What? He has one bad game. Now you want to put him in hell? Now you want to kill him?
He has had to have made a deal with the devil in order to be that good looking, married to that beautiful woman, and have such a career. Hellhounds will come for him. They will come.
They always do. Always do.
I tell you, Brady, he pays his dues, though. You know, that guy doesn't drink a drop during the season.
I know.
Not a beer.
No. That's just
big fucking deal. Pregnant women don't drink for 9 months at a time. Where's our medal? Where's our award?
Melissa, Melinda gets triggered and she goes to 9 right away.
Boom, boom, boom. Wow. I'm Irish and I'm triggered from a 0 to 1,000 like that.
She's got 11. So what do you think? Yeah. What's your truth? What would you like? Which one of those 3 things?
Well,
Melinda
you know
McKinsey?
what? I think I want to know about aliens. I want to know about aliens. I think the Kennedy thing is fascinating. I'm afraid to know the answer, but I feel like whatever happened then, I don't think we can change now. But if we knew about aliens, I think it would change our entire world dynamic as far as how we move forward in the world. Because right now we're very cocky and confident about, this is this and that is that. And I think that's why the pandemic and politics have freaked everybody out, because everything we thought we knew is all broken and different. You know what I mean? So you know what? Let's crack that. Let's break everybody all the way.
Yes. Yeah. Crack that egg.
How about what if the aliens were invading? How the world would come together?
Every man for himself, just like a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, every man for himself. Because here's what I think. You tell me how you feel about this, Melissa. I think if there's an advanced civilization, which please God let there be, we can't be the best that's out there. I would think they've gotten past the wars and the fighting, and there's smarter ways. I think an evolved civilization wouldn't come to invade.
We need slaves.
Yeah.
Don't you get us started on slaves.
We'll have overlords.
So you're saying they would make us the slaves?
Yes, we're not going to make them the slaves. They're coming in. They need labor, and they want to take our minerals.
Maybe we should be slaves for a while, guys. I mean, are we doing so great right now?
Right. Get our asses kicked for a hot minute.
See, here's the difference between how women
Isn't Trump enough?
Here's how women adapt and men. Not to put you on the spot, but Tom, as a guy, you're so used to things going a guy's way. As a woman, if we hear being a slave, we're like, I've actually been around a lot. So
I could do 20 years in the pen on my head. That's nothing. I've been married.
That's true. We have to overcome, right? I mean, that's how girls do it. I mean, we're like, okay, I can fix that. That's no big deal. And dudes are like, whoa, wait, I said it's supposed to be this way. And it's the ego.
Yeah, it really is the ego. And it's our, I'm 59. So I came from an era where we really didn't stand up for ourselves a lot. We really didn't know we could, to be quite honest with you. And it's so cool to watch the younger generation of women saying, well, that's absolutely absurd. Why would I do that?
Right.
And it's all things from making the correct amount of money to wearing a veil at a wedding. That's been quite the topic of, why am I wearing a veil? That was something from a lot. Why do I have to do that? Why do I have to take your name? Why can't we be married? And look at Tom. Tom did the man. Tom shook his head and put his head down.
I'm agreeing with you. We have a lot of traditions that don't make any sense. We just do them because everybody else did them before. But eventually those things do go away.
Eventually.
Yeah.
But we have to fight for them to go away, I feel like.
There was a comic. I hate when I tell a story and I don't remember names. He took his wife's last name, Cox. Cox was she was a star in that movie, in that TV series Las Vegas. Very pretty. I think it's Nikki
Oh
Cox.
yeah, I remember that.
And the comic was Jay.
I didn't see it.
He was in the Tom Hanks. No, the Tom.
Anybody over 40, this is
Come
how
on.
conversations go.
The famous line, "You had me at hello."
When
Right?
you Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise and his associate at the office, Jay. Gosh dang it. Anyway, he married her and he took her last name.
Okay.
That's
It's
chocolate.
funny when you're
Nowhere.
younger, if you forget things, you don't think it's a problem, you laugh about it. But as you age, you get very worried. And
You get concerned.
my sister and I will have
Am I
conversations.
starting?
Yeah. We will have conversations and we don't know the name of a place or a person, but we'll figure out what we're talking about. We're like, you know the guy that did the thing that was
Sounds like
yeah.
It's
two
horrible.
syllables.
It's horrible.
We're playing charades.
We're 7 movies away from the guy I'm trying to talk about. No.
I know.
We're never going to arrive.
Oh my gosh.
Belinda, let's do one more of your topics.
Okay. All right. Let's do, what are you watching? Right now we're home. I know Florida's different. I live in Brooklyn, and so we're still in a lot of lockdown here. So I'm watching a lot more streaming than what I normally do.
Mhm.
I'm curious what you guys are watching that you would recommend that you'd like other people to maybe watch. And it can be porn. It's fine.
That's fine. Porn is
Well,
number
Tom's
one.
been sending me that, and I
Oh, yeah.
Look at this link. Can we try this?
Well, I want to tell you real quickly. I want to know, like, tell us. It doesn't even have to be a big deal, but like if you found it interesting, or you know what I mean, and you think, hey, not the best movie in the whole world, but maybe something that was intriguing that would start like a dialogue or a conversation or something.
So I literally binged in one day a show called Utopia.
Ooh.
Which
And
one is that?
Let me tell you,
I'm right.
it was crazy. Utopia. It is about how there's a virus attacking the country, and about different viruses that are, and it's this comic book kind of thing, and
with the kids.
yes,
I just started watching that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Utopia. So you liked it? Huh? I just started watching it and I got distracted. Okay.
I watched it front to back, and I will tell you, when the news broke that certain somebody had coronavirus and then suddenly was cured, I was like, that's a damn Utopia storyline right there.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got to watch it. It's awesome.
Utopia.
But I just started yesterday. I restarted Californication. David Duchovny.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I watched
that 20 years ago?
Yeah. Good though. I was obsessed with that. I used to live in LA, so I felt very connected to the shallowness of how everybody treats everybody.
Yeah, I lived in LA too and I worked there for a couple of years, and
nice.
I'll tell you, it's right on, and I die.
Okay, let me ask. I have a question.
Yes.
David Duchovny, is he attractive because of his personality or because of his looks?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think
a little bit of both.
If you just saw him at the Publix standing there, all 5'10" of them.
Oh, 5'10", we're gonna do that. Okay.
I'm just saying. I think he has got amazing charisma. I don't know that he's male model like looks.
He's not. Here's the thing about women though, Tom. We don't always go for the
Hang on, let me get a pencil.
Write this down. You'll see, because I know men say this. Why is she dating that guy? We don't always go for the looks. We really go for the stuff that's inside, and then we'll start to love you more and find you more attractive.
Yep.
Because of other things. You know, I think every attractive woman I know has dated a guy where someone's like, he's not that good looking. But as far as David Duchovny, he seems to give off a vibe, a very confident vibe, and women do like confidence.
Yeah. And I mean, when he was in X-Files, right, and he was cleaned up and, you know, very sullen, or you know what I mean, withdrawn. There you go with your aliens. But just a whole different. I mean, you think about those two characters, X-Files and then in Californication, completely different, but still attractive because of that personality. And he does have a certain quality to him as well. So, I mean, he is only 5'10". Sorry, there.
I have no idea how tall he is. I don't think he's tall though.
I don't really know. You know that he was he is a sex addict. Did you guys know all that? He's a sex addict.
Yeah.
And I was very disappointed when he got divorced from that lovely, of course I can't think of her name because I forget.
Tia Leone.
Thank you, Tia.
Oh man.
And Tia, did you see that Tia, because I love this shit, she started doing Madam Secretary, and the guy that played her husband in Madam Secretary, her and him hooked up, and now they're a couple.
That's awesome. Good for her.
No. So suck it, David Duchovny.
Wow. Yeah, she's sweet.
Like,
I wish I would have known she was available. Huh?
You're a sex addict? Come on, man. Come on. Him and Michael Douglas. I can't help it. I have an addiction. Really? Are you just a 12-year-old boy that can't stop jerking off? Because I think that's what you are.
I mean, how many women have a sex addiction?
Well, here's the thing. We'll never
Okay,
know.
and don't say you can't have addiction without dick, okay?
We never know because we can have sex anytime we want. We'll never know.
Never know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's funny
We tend not to talk about it the way the guys do, though, either.
Yeah.
I mean, like the bragging rights. So.
Go on.
No, it's true. It's true. I mean, if there's somebody that you're attracted to, or you're playing the field, right? You're new single, or you're single for a long time, and you're playing. It's not like, oh, well, I've got one here and one here and one here. You tend to kind of keep that on the down low, where dudes are in the group chat telling them all about carpets and drapes and all that matching. And
you know what? It's an interesting thing. I had this conversation with my buddies. You'll talk about carpets and drapes with a woman that you really aren't serious about.
Yeah.
And probably not any. We're very private about the women we're intimate with at the moment.
Interesting.
There's not a lot of bragging and this and that, because first of all, we don't want to tell our buddies how crazy in bed she is, because guess what the next phone call is.
Right. Then what about when you break up? Does it change when you break up?
Respectfully, I'll wait till enough time has passed, and I'll never, unless it's something innocuous, would never put a name on a particular thing.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh, I remember 6 years ago when I was getting I was driving down to Sarasota, and she was, in my lap. That's always a fun. And then someone's got to do this because there's crazy mathematics about who that was.
I mean, I am right here, dude.
Sorry.
He's gonna just put it out there. That's who Tom Wise is.
That's what he said. That's what she said.
Yeah, but you know what, Melissa, you're so right. I never thought of it that way before. If we're dating around and we're trying to figure it out, we're very quiet about having more than one partner, because it's not about bragging. It's about figuring some stuff out.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
I have a
but
question.
There's a stigma that goes to it too, right? Because if we're dating around or sleeping around, whatever you want to call it, there's stigma to it. If guys are sleeping around, it's like, how many you got? What's the notch in your belt, kind of thing. So.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the married guys like to live vicariously through the single guys. They don't give a crap how many they got going on. But I mean, women, if you guys are all out having drinks, you'll never talk about having more than one sex partner at the same time. Like, I'm banging somebody on Tuesday, somebody on Thursday.
Not usually.
No.
Yeah, it's not typical. It's so interesting you say that, Melissa, because I never thought of it that way, and it does make sense, because we aren't really doing it for the bragging rights. We're really not. We're not. And I think that's interesting that men find that necessary for them to feel better about themselves.
It's a small group. Let me also ask another question. Yeah, there's not too many guys banging 3 and 4 women at the same time.
That topic was over. Okay. Okay, 2020.
Right. Let me ask you a question. So you're a group of 10 women, 6 women, and you're all sitting around chatting. Are you going to talk about your current sex partner in ways that are identifiable? Oh, his something is big or something doesn't work or something's hairy? Or do you wait till you talk about, like, I would not mention someone's name if I'm talking about a particular thing. You know what I'm saying? Because men always figure that women are talking about cock size.
Not always.
No.
Uh-oh.
No.
Speaking of that, the maids are here. You girls talk about yourselves.
Oh, the maids are here? Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. And he's got his shorts on. Yeah, but don't you think, Melissa, I know, like, with my true girlfriends, if we're talking about like dating and experiences, I feel like we've always been pretty respectful because we're more trying to tap into what works, what doesn't work, how to elevate each other. It's really not a lot of laughing and making fun of guys because we're really trying to work. That's been my experience.
Trying to understand what's making them tick and what, have they had that experience before and what helped them or what worked for them. I think women tend to look inward and want to make themselves better for their relationship, where men tend to look, well, that's not working, I'm going to move on to the next one. Right? They tend to, it's a recyclable, I guess, like, that one's not working, move on to the next one, or I don't like this about that one. And like you were saying, you tend to, it's not necessarily their looks, right? It's their personality. And then you break up and you're like, oh my God, his nose is so freaking big. Oh, how did I ever, and yeah. You start looking at these pictures and you're like, ooh, what was I thinking? Yeah.
We can convince ourselves we're in love if they check enough of the boxes for other things. We can rationalize their looks, their height, their weight, and everything. Yep. And I don't feel like, and I could be wrong, but in my personal experience, I've not heard or seen that men do the same thing. I feel like because men are visual, which guess what? We are too.
Right.
That men use that as, oh, I'm visual. Oh, well, we care about stuff like that too, but I think we're kinder about it, right? I think we're kinder where, like, I gave Tom this example once, my last long-term relationship, I thought everything was great. And then all of a sudden one day, because I work in front of the camera, we were on the subway and he was looking at me and he said, you're really getting to the point where you should start working behind the camera.
No way.
No, he did not.
And I remember having this sinking moment of, no matter what he says after this, I'm done with this man. Like, how dare you attack me that way to try to make me, you weren't doing me any favors. But I learned later he was trying to pick a fight. So, whatever. But I think that men do this whole outside visual thing where it's so temporary, guys. And it's so broken because we don't do that with them. I'm sure think they do. We don't talk about the size of their dicks because honestly it's what they do with them. And
exactly.
Us, so you can have the biggest dick in the world, but if you don't know how to hold me or how to have a conversation, I don't care what size your dick is.
That is absolutely the truth. 100%.
I should be a therapist.
You should be. I would come to your therapy sessions and probably eat the Reese's Pieces in the container behind you.
What's going on back there?
Right? Well, I always try to have different things up here. During the pandemic, I like candy. Who doesn't? But it makes me happy. And I told Tom this earlier. This is rock candy. Do you guys remember rock candy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Rock candy. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I started buying old timey candy and putting it all over the dining room because for me, for whatever weird reason, it made me happy. And I was trying to find moments of happiness. So I was putting this here in case we talked about the pandemic or what makes you happy, because again, even with the sock monkey, it's something I keep around because I'm always trying to find happy. I think the world's really tough right now. I think it's always been tough, but you have to decide which way you're going to go with it.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So, but I love your candy jars.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm at the penny, the corner store when I was a kid at Joe's.
You know what, Tom? We should get someone like Melissa and a couple of other women that we know are smart and funny and do like an intervention for men, because I think we can help you on so many levels about things you guys don't even know are true, because you guys make up stuff that isn't even true about us.
Well, it's funny because now, I mean, with the internet, men can get, just plow through, just make a mess of whatever, talking to women because they can be jerks. And those are the guys that are the loudest, and they're the loudest 5%, and they're the loudest guys. Yes. But most men aren't like that, I don't think. I hope not.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like from
I
my,
mean, if I'm
what?
in a relationship, you've got to have a line that you're saying, okay, this is we're not hitting on enough cylinders to move forward. But you better be honest with that evaluation. Just don't break up for something superficial.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what goes on in men's heads. I honestly, I think that's why I've been single for 3 years now, and it's why I like it, because I don't have to try to figure all that shit out all the time and wonder, well, why didn't he text me? What was that phone call about? You know,
Ugh.
I just, it takes so much fucking energy. Why can't you just have a balanced relationship and everybody's fine and cool and no one's checking on each other? And you know what I mean? I don't know what that's like. I've heard that these mythical things happen. I've not experienced them in my lifetime.
Yeah, it's Tom was saying about how we met, and I said he didn't even know how we met. He has no idea. Ask him.
I was at the Publix.
No, shut up.
The Publix.
So
And she
when
showed
I
me
moved
2
over here,
cantaloupes. She goes, "What do you think about these?"
hey, they're a little tender yet today.
Mm.
Anyway,
Was it
I
Costco?
had, what's that?
Was it Costco? He's always at Costco.
No, I didn't go to Costco, but I did think of him when I was at Costco
Thank
the other
you.
day.
Yeah.
But
You love the Costco.
I just moved over to the West Coast back in July, and I decided, like, okay, fresh start. I don't want to be on a dating site because that's just, I'm paying for people to harass me, and I don't to pay people to do that. I get harassed enough. And so I thought, yeah, I'm going to just join a couple of different groups on Facebook, like South Florida singles and, just a couple, and see what's out there. I'm new to the area, so I don't know the restaurants. I don't know the scene, stuff like that. And he and I happen to be on the same, in one of the same groups.
Looking for a third. I think it was lookingforathird.com.
I think that's what it was. But you had this thing about not wanting to cross swords, so there goes that.
Never mind.
No Eiffel Tower for you. And so he had posted something. They were talking about dating websites, and he had posted something about the dating website, and I was like, that's very insightful. So I looked at him. I looked at his Facebook, and I was like, oh, this guy's funny. Look, he has this show, and you guys had just started this show. And so I watched a couple of them, and I was like, oh my God, they're freaking hysterical. I actually gave him the idea for Boomerang X's that you guys had done a while back. Yeah. Because when my ex-boyfriend found out that I was getting divorced, he was on the phone. When can I come over and see you? When can you come up here and meet me? When can we do that? And I was like, dude, let the dust settle. So
yeah.
But that's how I met Tom. Was I stalked him on Facebook, basically. How it happened.
So I'm up to 1 stalker.
I love it. But see, I love that people can meet that way. It's a cooler way to meet, right? You get some time, you can figure somebody out, because it's hard to know what people are really about. You want to believe people are the best, but if you've ever been on a dating site, Melissa, you're very pretty. I can imagine what that's like, because it's been a nightmare for me going on dating sites, because men tell me who I should be and what I should be, and I get bossed around immediately, and I'm like, well, this is why I don't date, because I just want to be who I am and not be told that I'm wrong on all my choices.
Right. Oh, I agree. Yep. Yeah. No dating sites for me. I'm good.
Well, Melissa, will you come back on the show? We got 1 minute before they're going to kick us off.
Okay. I loved having you, Melissa. This is really making me think we need to have some female chats.
I love it.
Female online support groups. I will be in touch with you because I love you.
Oh, well, I love you too.
Thanks so
much. Thanks for inviting me, Tom.
You're welcome, Melissa. We'll have to do this again soon.
Yes.
All right. And that's going to be the end of our show. My name's Tom Wise.
I'm Melinda McKinsey.
And go ahead.
Melissa Mendieta.
Yay.
And you've been helping us unpack some shit. I'm stopping the recording. All right. And we'll see everybody on Friday. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.